Here we have the Samsung Galaxy A36 5G smartphone, which is available in 4 awesome colors. Now here we have the awesome graphite, but you can also get it in the colors of awesome lavender, awesome white and awesome lime. And at least in Germany, this mid-range smartphone will only cost you 380 euros. So today we will check out everything this phone has to offer and if it's a serious alternative for the Samsung Galaxy A56. So let's start with the unboxing. Just like with every Samsung smartphone, there isn't too much inside of the box. Of course, you will find the smartphone itself, and the only other things in here is the SIM pin, of course. There is a quick starting guide and some other paper stuff, and a USB Type-C charging cable. And that's it. No extra charging brick, and also no case. Now when it comes to the specs and the design, the A36 is basically just as good as the A56. We have a 6.7-inch display which is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, and you will get the same level of protection on the glass backside. Just the frame is different. Instead of an aluminum frame on the A56, we get a matte plastic frame on the A36. And I would say that the matte design is great as you see none of your fingerprints on it. The triple camera setup has changed as well compared to the older model. Instead of 3 separate camera lenses, we get one camera block with all of the lenses inside. Now overall this phone weighs in at 195 grams and is slightly slimmer than last year's version, the Galaxy A35, but something that stayed the same is that this iPhone is IP67 dust and water resistant. So like I mentioned, we have a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display, which is again a slight improvement to last year's version. The old one just had a 6.6-inch display. The A36 display lights up with a peak brightness of 1900 nits and it has a 120Hz refresh rate, which you can trim down to just 60Hz if you want to save some of your battery life. So it's the same as on the A56, and also the resolution is the same with 1080 by 2340 pixels. Just the screen to body ratio is a bit worse with 86.5% compared to the 87.7% on the A56, but I will promise that you barely see the difference right here. What I really don't like on this phone is the fingerprint sensor. It is really slow and does not work every time I use it. It was already not the fastest on the Galaxy A56, but it's definitely slow on here. Then you have quite a few display features like the eye comfort shield, which reduces the blue light. You can change the screen mode from vivid to natural, and you can also hide the camera cutout. Like this, you get a black bar instead of a selfie camera on top when you're watching your movies. And by the way, movies, these ones look pretty good on here thanks to the Super AMOLED display and the good display resolution. Just the brightness level could have been a little bit better, but it's the same problem with the Galaxy A56. As for the sound, right here we have a stereo speaker setup which gets loud and the quality is decent as well. Now in addition you get Dolby Atmos with a few presets and also a graphic equalizer, but best just leave it as it is. With the Samsung Galaxy A36 you will get a 5000 mAh battery that will last you a whole weekend depending on your usage, or you can watch movies and YouTube clips non-stop for over 25 hours, which is very long. Just the charging speed isn't the fastest. It supports 45 watts wired charging, and like this it takes about 70 minutes for a full charge and about 30 minutes to go to 65%. By the way, the Galaxy A56 isn't better. Alright, up to the features, and Samsung promises up to 6 years of OS updates, and you can get this phone with either 128 or 256 gigs of internal storage. Unfortunately, the storage isn't expandable via microSD card, and from my 256 gigs, about 19 gigs are already used up by the system. Now, what I really find interesting is that you almost have the same AI features as on the A56. You have the AI photo editing tools, like you can erase unwanted people and objects from images, you can erase shadows, remaster the picture for better colors, and you can also add a background blur effect to the picture. You also have the circle to search feature, which I always love to see since it makes it so easy to search for things that you see and probably want. There are the usual gesture controls, like you can double tap the screen to turn it off and on. There is the lift to wake feature, or you can palm swipe across the display to take a screenshot. You do get an always on display mode on the Galaxy A36, and also things like a safety and emergency feature, and that you can reorder apps by long pressing on them, and then you can swipe with your other hand to the next page and drop the app over there. By the way, if you liked the video so far, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more tech reviews, and you will also find the link to the smartphone down below in the description. One of the biggest differences to the Galaxy A56 is the performance and the gaming. Instead of running on the Exynos 1580 chipset, the A36 runs on the pretty old Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 chipset. Overall, I would say that the A36 is a lot slower than the A56 in every aspect. you can't really take pictures quickly in a row, and you always have to wait for a short time before you can take the next one. Also, is the gaming experience not the best? You can definitely not play games like Genshin Impact on the highest graphic settings, and you need to play them on medium to low settings, but at least games like Call of Duty or some car racing games work a little bit better in my experience. You also get a game booster on here. With this one, you can switch between the performance and the battery saving mode. You can take screenshots, open up apps in the floating windows in case you want to see some movies while you are walking to your next destination in your game, which can definitely take a while sometimes. So let's finish things up with the camera. And with the Samsung Galaxy A36, you get a triple camera setup with a 15 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization. There is an 8 megapixel ultra wide and a 5 megapixel macro camera. And you can shoot videos in 4K and 30 FPS. The selfie camera can also shoot videos in the same resolution, but can only take pictures with 12 megapixel. Then you get the usual camera modes, like there's a portrait mode, but no zoom options like on the A56. You have a night and a pro mode, slow-mo, macro, and a few more. So not that different from the Galaxy A56, but you can definitely tell the difference in the picture quality. So I guess you can really live with your daytime pictures. The quality is solid, you have poppy colors and a decent detail level, but they are not as punchy as the ones that you get on the A56. Also, if you use your ultra wide angle camera, pictures lose even more of the colors and the detail look very soft if you zoom in on them. Well, you basically cannot zoom in one bit as everything looks blurry. I would also stick to a maximum of 2 or 3 times to get the best picture quality. I did try the 10x zoom, but you can't see any details on here. Also, the macro camera is something that you shouldn't use. The focus of the A36 isn't the greatest, but what I do like are the selfies that you can take with your front and the back camera, in the normal or in the portrait mode. You get a good background blur, skin tones look natural, and you also get some kind of details in those pictures. And guys, there we have it. So I guess I will see you in the next one. Peace.